Welcome to our lectures on human body systems. Now, these lectures are going to bring a lot of things that we've learned together when we're discussing a lot of different components of human body systems. We're going to discuss processes that use a lot of the foundations that we've kind of built. Um, for example, when we're talking about the digestive system, you can't talk about that fully without talking about enzymes and how enzymes work, and how enzymes would break up different molecules, different macromolecules, or different important molecules for life, like proteins and like carbohydrates and things like that. And so, kind of pivoting off the benefit of doing all your previous work and previous study, we can now talk about body systems with more depth, but also a little quicker. I'll mention things quickly, and I know that you've done the work to know those processes. We're going to talk about human body systems in kind of a light way, in a very general way, but it's important to know that there's an overlap in human body systems and things like human health. So the way we talk about human body systems can depend on the context. For example, if we're taking, like, let's say, a wilderness first aid course, we might talk about the human body systems in the order of importance for maybe keeping someone alive in an emergency situation. But if we're talking about human body systems from like a developmental standpoint, we might talk about organs and organ systems in the order in which that they occur in development. So it just depends on what you're looking at. But this will give you just a brief kind of idea of those systems. And it's not going to be super in-depth in any one system, although I will spend a little bit more time on the cardiovascular and respiratory system, because those are both important in a lot of different things, including human health. And they also they work together in a really cool way. And so I hope you enjoy these lectures. This is going to be about the limit of our physiology portion of the class. But a lot of you, I think, will find some interest in these things. And of course, if you want to know more, you have the tools now, and you're gathering the tools to look up primary research in these fields. And that's especially important in like the sports science field, or if any of you are athletes and want to know more about what is being studied as far as like athletic performance. That has a lot of overlap with these human body systems and also primary literature, so you can look that stuff up too. So with that, let's start talking about the body's systems. What is the purpose of a system of organs? What does it do? Why do we have these organ systems? Well, organisms need a way to maintain kind of a natural balance. This is what we call homeostasis. It's a maintenance of a constant internal state. So the example that I pulled right here is from actually one of the first lectures we had, and that was our characteristics of life. So one of the fundamental characteristics of life is the ability to maintain internal constancy. The example that we looked at, or one of them, was of a hummingbird who was maintaining its internal temperature by releasing heat in different parts of its body, including right around its eye and right around its armpit and through its feet. So that's one way that the hummingbird is maintaining homeostasis, the constancy inside of its body. But human body systems, different organ systems, function similarly to maintain other kinds of things, not just temperature. There's other things that your body has to manage all the time in order to keep you alive. For example, you have different levels of acidity in your body. You have different kinds of electrolyte balances in your body that have to be maintained. You have an amount of fluids that you need in your body. You need a continual growth of cells. You also need, temperature regulation and things like that. And so these are all different ways that your body maintains itself and maintains a state that's ready to both grow and reproduce and to survive. An example of that homeostatic process is human body temperature. Now, we have broad ways of maintaining those things, and so this is just an example of the kind of cycles that occur in your body that incorporates a bunch of different systems, but with the same effect of maintaining your body temperature. So if your body temperature falls below a certain temperature, your body responds by constricting blood vessels so that heat is conserved. You might restrict blood flow to your extremities to keep your core warm. Shivering also burns calories. It burns calories at a metabolic rate that increases heat. And so if you're cold, sugary drinks are a great way to stay warm. And that's how kind of heat is generated in your body. That's if you're cold, and that's a way to get you back up to this homeostatic equilibrium. If you get too warm, then your body has other ways of dealing with that. Your blood vessels might dilate, you might start to sweat. The evaporation of that sweat off your skin will reduce the temperature around your skin, and that can help drop your temperature. And those are ways that your body has to bring the temperature back down. And those are two responses to variation of temperature. Overall, the goal is to keep the internal state of your body at an equilibrium. The balance of salt and water in your body is really important, and that balance is maintained through osmoregulation, which happens within your excretory system. The excretory system is really focused around your kidneys, your ureter, your bladder, and your urethra, but it's important to note that this system is connected to your blood, your vasculature. You have an artery and a vein that enter and exit your kidneys. Blood goes through and liquid is either pulled from it or it's left, and electrolytes are pulled or left within your blood, depending on what the state is in your body and what the demands are. The way your body regulates that is through hormones, and we'll talk about hormones and how those are produced. Remember, hormones are actually lipids, they're a kind of fat. An artery is something that is under pressure, and that's usually blood coming in. And so in this case, you have the kidney and you have the renal artery. That is where blood is going into the kidney to be filtered. You can see a kidney here, and it has a lot of different layers to it. A lot of these kind of layers and these like structures in this kidney are a really fine network of capillaries and tubes. And what that does is it increases the surface area, the contact between the blood and the surfaces of the capillaries that are able to filter out ions and things, and filter out things like sodium, calcium, magnesium, and other things. And these structures are basically aggregations of small capillaries. After they go through this kind of like network of capillaries, they either leave behind components or they remove things. And when they remove things, they are sent through the ureter to collect in the bladder. So things like excess ions or salts that you don't need or extra water is then passed through the ureter and collects in the bladder. Once your bladder is full, you have nerves that sense that, and then under voluntary control, you can then relax your bladder, and then you basically urinate all that filtrate out, and you get rid of that waste.